When your hope relies on vague dreams, it is often lost and broken by the reality of specific doubts. What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. A surefire way to never accomplish anything you set your sights to is to keep it as vague as possible, to be unclear about it, to have lofty ideas and dreams about it, to think in grand scale, to never narrow down your vision to actionable steps, to never become clear about exactly how your ideas connect to the actual movement of your hands, your feet, your mouth, to not have enough of a vivid objective that nothing that was fashioned by your brain could ever be materialized in objective form. And we often think that just having a grand vision is enough. But if you look at any successful venture, there has to be a person who takes the grand vision and ties it to where the rubber meets the road. There has to be at least one person who adds pixels to the low resolution version by coming up with clear, high-resolution actions to take. And this is for good reason, because while having a vision alone might give you hope for the future, it's better than having no vision. What you will encounter is the doubts and the nature of doubts and the nature of fears, and that they tend to amplify in the vague. They actually take advantage of your ambiguity, because they come with a flood of specific ways that you are inadequate, with a list of particular things that are missing for your vision to ever be realized. And so your vague vision loses in the face of specific doubts. If you source your hope, if your hope relies on the vague, expect for them to be disrupted. When your hope relies on vague dreams, it is often lost and broken by the reality of specific doubts. And so that tells us how we should treat our grand ideas. Because the thing that makes those dreams and plans and visions vulnerable are the fact that they exist in low resolution. The fact that they don't have specifics attached to them, ways to measure their progress, the measurable inches that make up the miles, and the miles that make up the marathon. And without that, you arm the fears with undue power that they don't deserve. And every one of those doubts will show up to strike a precise blow that will feel unpredictable because you didn't do the predicting. Anticipation is the greatest tool we have in life and business. When you are not anticipating, you are reacting. And the last thing you want to not anticipate and react to is your fears and doubts that will poke a hole into any momentum or activity you are trying to undertake to accomplish a goal. And they will make the goal feel impossible, when instead you could have just seen the insecurity, sat with and mapped the insufficiency. You could have just looked out for the monsters under the bed, and instead you ignored them. You didn't give them enough room to speak while making your plans, while casting your vision. And so they will make themselves be heard, be felt every step of the way, infiltrate everything until you do the work to shrink them down to size and to manageable little chunks. You see, fear can't survive in the specific. If you draw out clearly the best and worst case scenarios of what would happen if you encountered your fears in real life, the fears would just melt away, because there are not many things we're not built to handle. We can handle all sorts of difficulties and tragedies. You don't need to look far for that proof. Just look at your own life. I'm sure you can come up with countless examples where you handled things you didn't think you could. And so to know that and use that knowledge as a way of planning and mapping for the fears to show up, instead of just letting them show up unannounced and derail your entire path forward, doing that, keeping them in mind, using that knowledge would ensure that you can actually continue on that path. And so even if you don't reach the grandness of your vision, it won't be because you sat frozen in indecision and inaction, ruled by the fears and things you didn't see around the bend. It might just be because your actions weren't adequate in their encounter with reality. And those you can adjust. That data you can take in and still keep moving forward, inch by inch, as long as you plan for the inches with high definition pixel depth, where all fears get exposed, all get seen and managed. You'd be surprised all that you can make come to life. That's the utility of dreams, to fashion up what is beyond your wildest imaginations. And while dreams happen almost naturally, without much effort, while you're sleeping, the thing that makes them come to life, the task that they hand you, if you want to see them realized, is to sit with that dream and to chart out with clarity or be okay with your doubts devouring them. And so then you become a person without dreams, or one that doesn't believe in the beauty of those dreams. And that's a recipe for a bitter life. It's either low resolution hell or high resolution hardship. They're both something to bear, but one takes away your life and the other instructs you on how to live it. I love you, family. Stay true always. I see you on the next show.